You know, you grow up and you do the best you can, but sometimes your plan is not God's plan, and life gets messed up. Today, we'll meet Jenny and her life and how God saved it.
Restoring hope, open my heart to sing, taking the darkness inside, revealing your light, restoring hope, open my eyes to see the world through different eyes, revealing your light, restoring hope.
Good afternoon. It is the 8th day of June in the Lord's year 2015. I'm J. Michael McCoy, and welcome to this edition of Recovery Monday, brought to you by the good folks at Unity Point Medicine, Unity Point Hospitals, and specifically Powell CDC. You may have gone to something over the weekend, a family gathering, a reunion, a softball game, something like that, and there was Uncle Bob. Yeah, we all know Bob. Bob's a nice guy, and we try to love Uncle Bob, but when Uncle Bob starts drinking too much or Uncle Bob starts smoking on the leaf a little too much, well, then the problems start. And you look at the ones you love and you say, I just don't know what to do. I don't know what to do with Uncle Bob. I love him. I want to bring him help. I don't know what to do. Well, today you'll get that answer. 263-2424. That's the number at Powell CDC. There are counselors standing by, ready to help you. And no, they don't track you down on a GPS and send funny little men in white coats to come take Uncle Bob away. They talk to you, and they talk to your family. Because if Uncle Bob's going to get better, it's got to be up to Uncle Bob. You can't do it. No treatment center can do it. No one individual can somehow talk Uncle Bob into getting off the sauce. It'll be Uncle Bob that decides, but he'll be surrounded by people who love him, and you'll be one of them. Today, a story like I don't think you've ever heard before, or maybe it's like every story you ever heard. But before I introduce you to our guest, of course, back in studio, Lila Stafford from Powell CDC and Bob Montserrat, the cat in the hat, watching the chat. Bob, of course, a 35-year veteran of forensic scientists, is also a expert on alcohol and alcoholism and what it does to the body. And we're glad that both of you have joined us in our brand new studios.
Yeah.
Now, those of you at home won't notice anything different. But those of us who are in this room can tell a lot of difference. Hey, Ryan, why don't you turn off the green screen for just a second and give folks a little tour of the room. And so we were in a room before that was about 10 by 8, and now we are in a room that is 17 by 14, and it is gigantic. We couldn't have backed off of me that far at the other studio because the cameras were just on top of us. And you'll notice even the doors are painted green. That's for the chroma key. That's for the opportunity that we can put any image that we want up against there. There's Ryan. Ryan, don't go past you so quickly. Come back and wave at the nice people so they can see you back there. There's Ryan. Hi, Ryan. And then as we scoot around the room, there's our guest for today, Jenny. And then there's where our two co-hosts sit. So it's a beautiful room. Merle Hay Mall's done such a fine job for us. And I'm so happy to also tell you one of the most important things, guys, it's 69 degrees in this room. Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah, as opposed to 86 outside.
Yeah,
Yes.
and even in our old studios, we couldn't get it.
Yeah.
Could never get it cool enough with all the technology we had around us. So anyway, thank you for doing that, and that's how we do the Chrome Key. And anytime you'd like to come up and visit our studios, you're always welcome to. Just text me or give me a call before you're going to come up here, so I know that I'll be here for you. All right, today I'd like to introduce you to Jenny. Jenny has a last name. It's Midgorden.
It is.
Okay. I'm probably going to just call you Jenny.
That's perfectly fine.
Because that's a Midgorden den. I don't do names. Montserrat. I mean, it took me like 5 years I've worked with this guy, and I can finally say his name right. So, Jenny, tell us where home is. Where you from originally?
Des Moines, Iowa.
So you grew up here in Des Moines?
I did.
What school?
Roosevelt.
Roosevelt, a Rough Rider.
Yes, Rough Rider.
Okay.
Oh, see, that's where we all learned to get off track.
You were at Roosevelt too,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. I think you were a little behind Jenny, though, probably. You were the class of
99.
99, and you were the class of 96.
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
67.
67. That's awesome. All right, you're going to have a 50-year reunion.
Not yet. Couple more years.
2 years, yeah. So what kind of a girl was little Jenny? What kind of a girl was she in junior high and high school?
Well, I would definitely say that I wasn't a good girl in junior high or high school. I definitely went a little left field, probably 6th grade.
Okay, and what made that happen?
Well, I grew up very poor. I have 7 siblings. Mom worked several jobs, worked all the time. My dad was a drug dealer, a lead singer in a band. We didn't have a lot of money at all.
Okay.
So come around 6th grade, I kind of started figuring out, Mom would leave me $2 or $3 every day to get dinner for all the kids.
Were you the oldest?
I wasn't. I had 3 older siblings, but they were kind of off doing their own thing.
Okay.
I took care of the 4 younger siblings quite often. And I just, $2 or $3 wasn't a lot. A lot of macaroni, a lot of peanut butter and jelly. I figured out that selling marijuana could get me a good deal of money and could help me put some meat on the table and buy some clothes for the kids and some school supplies that they needed. And that's what I did.
And you had a supplier in your father.
I did not get any
really?
marijuana. Nope.
Okay.
Nope. Actually, he was pretty good at hiding it. I really didn't know that that's what was going on until
Really?
later, until I started doing it myself. I was like, that's when I realized that that's what he was doing too. So, no, I did that on my own.
Okay.
I found that on my own. I started smoking in 6th grade, and it was probably within a month and a half that I realized that I could make money off this.
So you started selling marijuana to 6th graders?
I did. Yes.
Now I'm old, I guess. When did you do drugs in 6th grade?
No.
No?
No.
I mean, I don't even know if drugs were.
Apparently they were around when I was in high school, but I mean, and I ran with a wild crowd, but none of us did it until college. And then I remember the first person that smoked marijuana at the college I went to. We all went to a room. I mean, I bet there were 50 of us in a room watching her smoke. You know, because it was
That interesting.
Nobody did it. And then I came home from that school, and everybody was into drugs.
It
At
happened
that
that
time.
quick. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I know you didn't use it at that age.
Oh, no.
You've never
Not even at this age.
you've never smoked marijuana.
Never.
Don't you think as a forensic scientist you should at least try it? So you know what your people have gone through?
No.
No? Okay.
I don't think so.
He doesn't think like an addict at all.
No, he doesn't. Jenny is our guest today. 10 years clean, by the way. 10 years clean. But started selling marijuana in the 6th grade. And how long would you get away with that?
Quite a while.
Yeah?
Yeah. I started selling marijuana in 6th grade. I started dating a older man. He was 21 in 6th grade. I dated him for about 2 years. I was selling marijuana that whole time and started doing meth at that same time. It was probably 6 months after I started smoking marijuana that I started to do meth.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So would you call marijuana a gateway drug then?
Sure, definitely I would.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Was your boyfriend into this stuff too?
He was. Yep, he was. I have to say that I was selling it on my own. My boyfriend was not. I sold to his friends. I sold to people around him.
So you're really street smart. You knew what to do to survive.
I did, and that was my main objective.
And you are beautiful, so I imagine you were beautiful as a 6th grader and could pass for being older.
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
I could see that.
The guy that I was dating was in a gang. He was a leader of a gang. And it was a very, very rough lifestyle. I remember thinking to myself at 11, 12 years old, I cannot believe this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But this is what I'm doing. And it's working. And the kids have some clothes. The kids have their schoolwork done. I could help them with their schoolwork. I could do all this stuff that needed to be done at the house because now I found this magic drug to me, which was meth. Oh, and by the way, it makes you skinny too, which of course at that age I was very low self-esteem.
Yeah.
And was phenomenal to me. I just didn't know that it came with so many
Consequences.
bad consequences too. Yeah.
Jenny is our guest today. She's been clean 10 years. Today is, of course, Monday, which means we're doing Recovery Monday, brought to you by the good folks at Powell CDC. So where's mom and dad when Jenny in 6th grade? How old are you in 6th grade? Are you 10?
11.
11?
Yep.
All right, so here's Jenny, 11.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously doing something.
Mm-hmm.
She looks nice. She's got nice clothes. She's bringing money in for the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And she's got a boyfriend, 21 years old, which had to be just to the parents. Like, I don't know.
They did not know.
They did not know?
This whole lifestyle was going on. They did not know. My mother had 3 jobs. My dad wasn't working. He had crushed both of his feet in an accident. He was a painter. Crushed both of his feet and was bedridden for a couple years.
Wow.
I was the one taking care of the kids, watching them. Mom was working all the time. I was bringing home good grades, honor student, and doing this on the side. It was a completely secret life that nobody knew about.
And was that part of the fun for you?
I think it made me feel like I was doing something. I was doing something worthwhile. I was smart. That's what I felt like. I was smart enough to be able to handle all this on my own.
Yeah.
Okay. So it didn't cause the pressure didn't outweigh the benefits.
Not at that point.
You know what I'm saying?
I do, yes.
Because I mean, I think I've never sold drugs.
Mm-hmm.
I've used them a lot, but I've never sold them. And I think if I was selling drugs, I'd just be freaked out all the time. I'd be
But I
wondering.
think if you're really young, you're not even aware of maybe how bad, what trouble you could really get into. It was
No.
just like, this is working for me. This is great.
It was almost magic to me.
Yeah.
It was, this is the answer. My mom is working so much.
Yeah.
She's taking care of 8 children on her own, plus my father who's bedridden and can't get out of bed and work. This to me was an answer to help her ease some of the pressure off of her without her knowing exactly what was going on.
So, Jenny, question, did you do any of this drugs at home while the family was there?
I did, yeah. I sure
And yet you hid it, that they had no idea.
I did, yes.
Well, your teeth are still beautiful.
Thank you. I was very conscious about brushing my teeth.
Now, but I mean, back at this time, so we're talking 94, 95
Yes.
about.
Even before then, I think, actually.
Okay. What did we know about meth back then?
What I knew about meth back then is I could get a lot done. I didn't really need to sleep that much. It made me not eat, and it made me feel like I could do anything.
And that's
what
why
I knew.
most women that I know that have done meth, those are no matter what the age, that's why they do it.
They don't eat.
It's like taking speed and just
Right.
it makes you thin. You're not hungry, and you just plow through all that housework that everyone hates. You do it really fast, and you start feeling confident in yourself.
Yeah.
Right. It's a stimulant, and it used to be, it was a prescription that for people that wanted to lose weight, they would put
Yeah.
them on amphetamine.
Amphetamine.
So methamphetamine is just a different form. And back in the 90s, people were making this stuff in their garage and in their homes.
Do you remember White Crosses?
Yeah.
Well, it's a little bit like that, but
Okay.
then it started. When people started making it in their garage, then it got really nasty with stuff they were putting in it.
Exactly.
But it feels a little bit like the White Crosses used to.
All right, we're going to take our first break. Jenny is our special guest, clean for 10 years. Believe me, we didn't bring her in here just to tell you her 6th and 7th grade follies. It gets worse, but then much better. And you'll hear the whole thing coming up live here on Recovery Mondays, powered by webcast1live.com on The Truth.
father who is headed toward another heart attack. A woman who struggles daily with diabetes and her memory. A boy whose headaches keep him out of school. A mother who one morning discovers a lump. A girl whose condition defies diagnosis. You come to us because you need answers, but you also need more. You need understanding of what you're going through. You need comfort. You need to be treated as an individual, not a condition. You need to be included in your own care. You are the point of everything we do. That's why we're changing to Unity Point Health. It's a model of care that will help us work better together, where the physician who knows you best takes the lead, coordinating your care through every step, from the hospital to specialists to rehabilitation to health services in the home and in the community, to making sure the treatments are effective. By working as a team, we surround you with care, helping you manage your health and your conditions, guiding you to making better choices and living a healthier life. The point of Unity is you. Unity Point Health.
Hey, psst. Let me let you in on a little secret. You ready? Always try to do business with people, not places, especially if you seek honest Christian business people. And when it comes to my car, I really need to trust who's working on it. Now, my family is so blessed. A few years ago, we found a family-owned automobile repair shop that operates as a Christian business also. Open, honest, reliable, trustworthy. It's AMCO on Hickman Road in front of Kmart. And it's a family-owned Christian operating business. This family treats your car as if it was their car. Everything from oil changes to transmission repair and everything in between. So the next time you feel the need to be at peace with your choice of who you can trust with your car, give AMCO on Hickman a chance to serve you. And tell them Max sent you.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Restoring hope, open my heart to sing, taking the darkness inside, revealing your light, restoring hope.
Good afternoon, 21 minutes after the hour on this, the 8th day of June in the Lord's year 2015. I'm J. Michael McCoy, and this is Recovery Monday, brought to you by the good folks at Powell CDC. You are only one phone call away from help. Just one. Now, if you want to make that phone call to me, you can. You can make it to Lila. You can make it to Bob. You can make it to Ryan. You can make it to Jenny. You could also just call directly over to Powell, but one way or the other, understand it is the most important phone call you'll ever make. And I'm assuming that if you're listening to this program, that you're not an alcoholic or a drug addict. I don't think you're at home in the 6th grade doing meth, but maybe you know somebody who is, and you're worried about them. And this isn't narking on them. This isn't telling on them. It's just calling up and asking what I need to do to get help, and we'll get you that help. All right, Jenny is in. Did you graduate high school?
I did graduate high school. Yes, I actually graduated early.
Early.
I did.
All right. And what was we know what your 7th, 8th, and 9th grade was like. What was your 10th, 11th, and 12th grades?
Let me back up just a second because there's something significant I'd like to say. When my mom and dad finally found out about me dating this 21-year-old man and that I was doing drugs and selling drugs, and they were blown out of the water as most everybody was. I was a very good student. My mom put me in a treatment center.
Okay.
Made me break up with the boyfriend, and when I went in there, it was a 2-week program, And they had told me while I was there that I had hepatitis B, which completely crushed me. They told me I wouldn't be able to have a family. I wouldn't be able to have kids, that I'm not going to be able to be in a relationship because it would pass it on to them. And this was the first time in my life that I went into my room and I prayed to, I didn't know who. I prayed to God that if you are there, please, God, please, in the most utter devastation that I've ever been in my life, please take this away from me. I cannot do this. And I had planned to go home and commit suicide. I planned to do this. I wasn't going to tell anybody. This wasn't, to me, I was no longer useful. There was no use for me. I was not going to be able to have a family. People were going to have to worry about me. And I was not going to do it. I was going to go home and I was going to commit suicide. And I had planned it out and it was going to happen. So I get home and I know in about 3 days I'm going to spend some time with my family and I'm just going to do this and take care of it as neat as possible. And
how had you planned on doing it?
I was going to cut my wrists.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How old were you at the time?
13.
I was 14.
I went, my mom took me to a doctor, her doctor. I had told her about it. I had run away from home before, so I hadn't seen her in some weeks. She had called the cops, actually. The cops brought me to the treatment facility, and this is when I found this out. So when we get home, she took me to my doctor, and they tested me. And when I prayed, I said to God, if you take this away, I promise I will never doubt you. I will never doubt that you exist. I didn't grow up in church. I've been to church here and there, but I had no idea who God was and what he could do. But I said, if you're there and you take this away from me, I promise that I will always believe in you. Please just take this away. I can't handle this. So I go home and I go to the doctor, and the doctor does the tests, and the tests come back negative. And my mom was like, look, they told me, please run the tests again. And they're like, Linda, we'll run them again. They ran them again. It came back negative. And she was just hysterical. And I knew that this was not a coincidence. I knew that God had done this for me and that this was his way to show me that he really existed. I didn't really know what to do with that at that point, but I knew unequivocally I would keep my promise and I was not going to forget that he existed, and I believed that he was real. This was huge for me.
Good for you.
She called the treatment facility. The treatment facility was like, look, I'm so sorry. We must have got her test mixed up with somebody else's. We really apologize. But none of that mattered. I knew that was God.
Okay.
So moving on, I get into high school. I didn't really know what to do with that. I did go to a church after that, that my boyfriend, who was in the gang, somebody came up the street and invited all these gang members to church. It was a Pentecostal church, Holy Rollers to the fullest. And I went to that church in my little crushed velvet homecoming gown, and totally out of place. But I started going, and I was going to try to figure out who God was. Who is this God? While I was there, I did get saved, and I went and got baptized on my own. I tried to I'm still doing drugs. I'm still doing drugs and with this 21-year-old man, but I'm trying to figure out this God thing too. I kind of felt like I got kind of shunned out of the church, but it didn't deter me from God, we'll say. I did go on to, I got baptized there and I got saved there, and I did accept Jesus as my Savior. And then continued on with my life as a drug dealer. I started making meth by the time right out of high school. I started making meth. I moved out on my own out into the country. I also became a dancer. At this point, I am hungry for money. I know that I can make a lot of money, and I'm going to make the most money as possible. So I'm making meth and I'm dancing and making tons and tons of money and really nowhere to put it. I'm just making it to make it. And I ended up finally, by the time I believe I was 21, I finally got caught. And I didn't get caught with anything that I had personally. I actually got caught through somebody else. But normally, the first time that you get caught, you get probation or something of the likes. That didn't happen for me. I got a 10-year sentence with a third mandatory right off. And I was shocked and stunned because to me, this shouldn't have happened. I mean, the other two people where they found this meth lab, they didn't get charged with this. I wasn't even there, and I get charged with this. So to me, I feel like this is horrible, that this shouldn't be happening. But I look back and I know that God did this for me. God did this for me to take me out of a life that I shouldn't have been in. So I spent 18 months in prison. I went
Mitchellville.
In Mitchellville. I did a great program, drug treatment program. It was an amazing program. I got out and was clean for some time, and something significant happened to me. I ended up getting pregnant, and I couldn't take that. I wasn't ready to be a mom. It wasn't a good situation how I got pregnant, and ended up having an abortion without anybody knowing. Nobody knew. I used my whole paycheck to have it done. I was clean at this time, so I wasn't selling drugs. I wasn't dancing. I was trying to do the right thing. I couldn't take it, and I ended up relapsing. I remembered back before I relapsed, and I have to say that there was a time that it was devastating. This was the time when I was making meth. I had this boyfriend. Sorry to jump around. I had this boyfriend that I had dated for like 2 weeks, and I was getting ready to move in with him because I got kicked out of this house. And when I went to leave to go pick up my stuff, he kind of snapped a little and grabbed a knife out of my purse and flipped me over and went to stab me into the chest. And I mean, big guy, big arms, little tiny me at 100 pounds, and literally had me on the ground and had a knife this close from my chest. And I grabbed his arms, and I'm pushing up, and I am praying to God, I am not ready for this. Please, God, don't let me die. Please, God, don't let me die. And I would say that he was pushing, and we had this struggle for about 2 minutes, which doesn't seem like a lot.
Oh, it's an eternity.
It is an eternity.
It's an eternity.
Just so happened that there was a knock on the door, and it's my little sister and her husband, which was best friends with this guy. I screamed for them to come in. He's unaffected by the knock on the door, and he's unaffected by the fact that there's people standing there. He is trying to get this into my chest. And I look up at them. My little sister's on crutches, shocked, stunned. And I look up to her, and I'm like, help me. Well, you guys, please do something. And he's got this knife here. And I think that they're just so shocked they couldn't move. They couldn't, or maybe that if they did, it was going to go in. Whatever the case may be, they were shocked, and it wasn't helping. And something happened, and I looked up at him, and I was like, I have to do something. And I completely changed my thought process. And I was like, you know what? I love you. I love you. It's okay. It's okay. And he starts kind of looking at me funny, and I'm like, I love you. It's okay. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not leaving you. I'm going to stay here. You're right. Whatever's going on, you're right. And he kind of like looks at me funny and kind of snaps out of it. And he stands up, and he's like, oh, yeah, I was just playing. And just had this weird, like, shift in personalities is what happened there. And but I remember praying to God at that very moment and thinking, God, please don't let this happen. And there's no way that I physically could have held that man off of me myself, and I know that that was God. Well, when I get out of prison and I went to relapse, this memory had flashed in my mind. You know, I'm like, man, it was just a bad memory. And I feel bad for wanting to go back into this lifestyle or even thinking about it. But I felt like I just couldn't handle what was going on. So I did. And I ended up relapsing for just a couple months before I ended up getting a really big charge, another big charge. I ended up going back to jail. I got picked up with a guy that I was hanging out with, got picked up with 3 ounces of meth. because, of course, I don't just start using. I'm going to go right back to where I was. Started selling immediately, big quantities. I wasn't making it at this time, but I didn't really need to. Immediately when I wanted to get back in, it was readily available for me to do so. I started selling big quantities again. 2 months, I would say 2 months from start to that to getting picked up again.
What's an ounce of meth cost?
Man,
back then?
You know, I really don't remember what it cost.
I'm just curious.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm amazed by the price of cigarettes.
Oh, I know.
They're like $7 a pack.
I remember it pretty, $100 a gram.
Okay.
And there's 28 grams in an ounce. That was pretty.
Yeah.
Pretty.
2,800 in an ounce, and you've got 3 ounces, so you're walking around $8,000 worth of stuff.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. That was wonderful. Thank you. So tell me where we're going to pick up when we come back. You just got busted on this major charge.
I did.
All right. And I'm assuming you go to prison again.
I do.
Mitchellville?
Nope. This is federal this time.
This is federal. And so then we'll talk about the time that Jennifer spent in prison on a federal level, and also what finally brought her around. God's visited you twice. Mm-hmm. You've promised him things. Mm-hmm. Did you deliver?
I did.
You did?
Eventually, yeah, I did.
Eventually you do?
Eventually. Once I figured out who God really was, I figured out, you know what, he's not playing with me.
Good. All right. And then she can tell us who God really is. Bob, are you ready for this?
Yes, I'm ready.
Find out who God really is.
Yes.
Your story's fascinating. Thanks for sharing. And you tell it well too.
Thank you.
So thanks. There's people who tell their story very eloquently, and then there's people who just kind of bounce off the wall. I'm a bounce off the wall guy, and you do it very eloquently. So thank you. We're coming back. It's Jenny's story here live on The Truth.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
I'm Brian Leach, owner of Service Legends, and my position is Chief Talent Officer.
I'm Nicholas Wonderscheid.
I am Bernie Homs.
And I'm the Service Manager.
Marketing Director and Client Relations Manager.
Everything that we do is about ensuring that we exceed your expectations.
Our clients are important to us. 100% satisfaction.
We're not just focused on heating and cooling. That's the easiest part of our job, actually, is fixing furnaces and air conditioners.
Everyone that we come in touch with, we want to improve lives.
Bottom line is, we've got our installation guarantees, 25% energy savings guarantee, comfort guarantee, temperature selection guarantee, property protection guarantee.
100% satisfaction guaranteed, fixed rate or it's free.
All of those guarantees are backed up with a 100% money-back guarantee to hold ourselves accountable to making sure that you get what you're after.
Just fixing the problem today. If they have another problem 5 days down the road, it's still fixed rate or it's free.
We use what's called straightforward pricing. Our technicians are going to give you an exact to-the-penny price on what it's going to take before they move forward with any repair. That way you know what to expect.
It's the same price every day.
No surprises.
If you get off work at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you come home, you realize that, oh, my furnace is broken. Now you need to call somebody out that night. You shouldn't have to pay more for that.
We're guaranteeing service 24/7.
We run afternoons, evenings, nights, weekends. We're staffed to work that.
Phone rings at 3 in the morning. You'll get one of our representatives answering the phone every time.
We're not sending you out to Timbuktu in some call center. It's our Service Legend team members, our mission control team.
I'll take a call anytime.
And then they answer the phones the same way during the day as they do at night.
It's a great day at your service company. How can we make you smile?
That's the only way to provide true 24-hour service.
When you're able to let somebody actually live in their home safely when they weren't able to do that before, where they don't have to stay up at night and worry about, is the heat going to come back on? Are we going to freeze the pipes? Is the baby in the room next door going to be sick because they got too cold? When you're able to help somebody overcome challenges like that, that's impacting a life. That makes a difference. I get goosebumps thinking about it.
I love the team. I love the people that I work with.
We have fun, but we work hard.
I call them my ambassadors of legendary service. If you could just envision what that is, that's who we're sending to your home.
They literally will call in, pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I want to talk to your manager. And I get on the phone, they're like, that technician that was at my house was the greatest technician ever. That's cool to me.
We want to brighten people's days.
Every person that we have going into the house has gone through an extensive background check.
Drug testing, we have a very thorough interview process that 1 out of 140 people make it through.
If we promise you something, that's what you're going to get, no matter what.
We're here when you need us to protect the safety and comfort of your family.
If you're not happy, we're gonna make it right.
If we're willing to put 100% money back guarantee on what we do. What type of work do you think we do?
Give us a call. We're there for you 24/7, 365 days a year.
Enough said.
Restoring hope, open my heart to sing, taking the darkness inside, revealing your light, restoring hope.
22 minutes before the top of the hour, Salem Radio Network News at 3. And then at 3:03, it's the Steve Deace. Every afternoon, 3 to 5, right here on The Truth, 99.3. Lila Stafford in the house from Powell CDC. And as always, there's somebody standing by at any time, 263-2424. Yep. There's always somebody standing by to help you. Don't be embarrassed. If you don't feel like you're narking on somebody, if you call up, the authorities, as in police, do not get involved. Okay? If Bob, that's just my generic name. If Bob wants to come in for treatment, then Bob can come in. Insurance plans are covered, almost all accepted. So the money isn't always a big issue. The time isn't always a big issue. The issue is always whether Bob's ready to give up. If he's sick and tired of being sick and tired. If God has brought him to a point where he now realizes his identity is in his Creator, not in his drug or his bottle or his lack of relationship with the Almighty. It's time to figure this out. Call Powell CDC 263-2424. Bob Montserrat, the cat in the hat, watching the chat, and we have Jenny's brother in, and where does he live?
Georgia, Savannah.
Savannah, Georgia, and he's a pastor?
He is an assistant pastor, I believe.
And what's, do you know what denomination?
He's Pentecostal.
Oh, they stayed Pentecostal.
He did.
Did you stay Pentecostal?
I didn't.
You didn't.
So he's one of those holy rollers you're talking about.
He is. Huh? I got to tell you, I started that trend way before he ever got into the church, though.
You did?
Yeah. Yep.
All right. So you're 21, 22 years old. You've been through a short prison term of 18 months. I bet it didn't seem very short, though.
It did not seem short at all.
Yeah, over at Mitchellville, the girls' overnight stay there with the state.
Mm-hmm. That's where they threatened to take me when I was in high school at Roosevelt.
Take you to Mitchellville? Yeah.
I didn't know what Mitchellville was, but they said that, or then they showed me a cell with a man that's throwing up, and they said you can go there or go to Mitchellville. I go, call my father.
And you get involved. This is a different man than the guy before?
Oh, yeah. Yep. I ended up leaving him at like 14. I grew out of that.
Well, you grew out of that old guy.
I did.
He just got too old for you.
He did.
But you're selling meth, and you get busted.
I do.
And this time it's federal.
It is. Yeah.
Why is it federal?
Well, they went back to the guy's house. He had guns. He had a whole bunch of other stuff. They tied it together because of what he had. My charge went federal as well.
Okay. And so you were found guilty.
Well, what happened was I went in. I got out on pretrial for about a year and a half. That whole year and a half, I stayed clean. On my own. I didn't necessarily need to. I mean, it wouldn't have done any harm for me to use. But during that time, I was dating a man that I had dated before I went in the first time. So we started dating about 21. I got out. We got together. We've been together for the most part. He had a prison stay too. He got out. We got together. I got pregnant in that year and a half that I was waiting to be sentenced. So this is my first child that I'm going to have, and I know I'm going to prison. And at this point, they're talking about 25 years. And federal, you do 85% of your time. So this is very scary for me. I'm going to have my first child. A, I know I'll have my child in prison, and B, I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to see my child grow up.
Yeah. Absolutely, you wouldn't.
That wasn't going to deter me from having her, but it was certainly very scary for me. But this was what's going to happen, so this is what I'm going to deal with. I end up getting sentenced a year and a half later. I'm about 3 months pregnant at this time. They gave me the lowest that they could give me, which was 5 years. I do 85% of that. They sent me to a prison in Texas, very far away. And I spent basically my whole pregnancy there, of any, significant pregnancy. I had my daughter. I stayed in a program there that I got to keep her for 3 months, just to get her through that bonding period of time, which I was very blessed to have that time. After I sent her home, I would say that was one of the most devastating things that I've ever had to do, is send my child away and spend another 3 years and some.
Where did you send her?
Home with her father,
Okay.
and her grandmother.
Okay.
That was a very hard period of time. I could have done that time pretty easy on my own, but with my baby gone, that was devastating. I started dabbling in the Bible, I would say, really trying to figure out a little further, a little deeper. It wasn't clicking so much. It was still very foreign to me. I tried all sorts of different churches, Catholic churches, all sorts of different denominations of church, whatever they had, I was trying, just figuring out what was going to work, I did my time. I got out. I stayed clean. I was blessed with a really good job in a law firm right out of prison. I was very blessed with that. I got out.
What kind of job did you have at a law firm?
Paralegal.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I still work there.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm still there. I get out. I'm doing really good. Not really sure what to do. I'm still with Mariah's father. He's in prison when I got out.
Her name's Mariah?
Her name is Mariah.
Love that name.
My daughter.
Where do I know that name? Oh, the wind.
Yes.
yeah.
Right? And they call the wind Mariah.
Mariah, yep.
Yeah, okay.
Mariah Carey. Is that her?
Huh?
Mariah Carey. What's her name?
Yeah, Mariah Carey.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so go ahead.
I'm still with her father. He gets out of prison and starts using shortly after. Weed first and then meth. And I probably went back and forth with him with this and really struggled to keep my family together for about 3 years. And last year, it ended very badly. We got into a very bad fight. I got my nose broken. I ended up leaving him. That was the final straw. 3 weeks later, my mother, whom I was very close to, best friend, confidant, advisor in all things, talked to her every single day, died tragically in a car accident. So I left a relationship of 13, almost 14 years. My mother died a couple weeks later, lost that. And
But you stayed clean.
I did.
How? You keep talking about this God that you have.
By the grace of God, I will tell you that he's really been my strength. I feel bad that I didn't really know what to do with him or how to go about this. But as I entered the hospital, when they told me that my mother died, I didn't get to say goodbye. She was dead by the time that I got there. I hit my knees and I asked God, why would you do this? Why would you do this? And I literally heard it in my head, it's time. And I was like, okay. You know what? That's fair. You have done some amazing things for me. And if this is what it takes for me to get it together and for you to tell me, and I don't believe that he did this to make me do this, but I do believe that he used this to bring me to him. He used this to get my attention and be like, hey, I have something for you and you need to pay attention. And immediately I was doing other things. I was doing things to make money on the side that were not moral. I was doing things, I did start drinking. It wasn't a huge problem, but I was drinking ever since I got out of prison. This was the one thing I did do. Immediately, I was like, it is time. And I reached out to my brother in Georgia. And I was like, Dave, this is what happened when Mom passed. And I think that, I need to really reach out and find out who God is and what I need to do here.
Who was God and who is God to Jenny? We'll find out in our last segment next.
A father who is headed toward another heart attack. A woman who struggles daily with diabetes and her memory. A boy whose headaches keep him out of school. A mother who one morning discovers a lump. A girl whose condition defies diagnosis. You come to us because you need answers, but you also need more. You need understanding of what you're going through. You need comfort. You need to be treated as an individual, not a condition. You need to be included in your own care. You are the point of everything we do. That's why we're changing to Unity Point Health. It's a model of care that will help us work better together, where the physician who knows you best takes the lead, coordinating your care through every step, from the hospital to specialists to rehabilitation to health services in the home and in the community, to making sure the treatments are effective. By working as a team, we surround you with care, helping you manage your health and your conditions, guiding you to making better choices and living a healthier life. The point of Unity is you. Unity Point Health.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can give these grandkids back, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We can help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Restoring hope, open my heart to sing, taking the darkness inside, revealing your light, restoring hope.
10 minutes before the top of the hour, Salem Radio Network News at 3. And then 3:03, it's the Steve Deace Show. He's upset. Steve took one of those little online polls, and the Republican candidate that he wants to win is not the one he's most like. So he's going to talk to us about that. He was 97% lock, stock, and barrel with Mario Rubio. Not Mario Rubio. Marcus Rubio. What? Marco Rubio. Man. Butchering names today, aren't I? So that'll be coming up next here on the Steve Deace Show. Our guest is Jenny. She, a great testimony. Basically from the 11 years old and on, running her own life, absentee father, a mother who was doing everything she could to make the house work, 7 kids. And at 11, she learned how to sell drugs and buy clothes for the kids and food for the kids, and unfortunately had a couple of bad spells with prisons, including federal time down in Texas. But you get out of that, you come home, and you end a long-term relationship, and but now you've had a good job.
Yes.
And how old's your little girl?
She's 7.
7. And you're not married?
I'm not.
Getting close, though, right?
I am.
That's what I hear. Maybe we could have him come on here and ask you to marry you right here on the radio program.
You know, I'm sure he would love that.
Well, okay. But this God thing.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me how you finally. I know you never arrive.
Right.
So it's all progress. But tell me where you're at now with your Creator.
You know, the significant turning point, my mother passing, completely spurred this huge spiritual awakening for me. It was time for me to let go of my past, the ways of my past, and trying to hold on to figuring life out myself, because you know what? I can't figure out my life myself. Right. My life is in God's hands. And as soon as I could let go of that control and let go of the fact that I can't do this on my own. That is as smart and as powerful as I've become in all aspects of my life, it doesn't work on my own. And once I let that go, my life has changed dramatically. And God has stepped into my life and done something for me, given me an extreme amount of peace and joy. I look at people completely differently. I don't hold grudges. I've forgiven anything and everything I can think of. It just doesn't even bother me. I have an extreme amount of love for so many people. There's very few people that I meet that I just don't immediately just feel joyful and loving and care for. You know, I just want to love people. And that it's just so new for me. And that's what God's done for me, giving me this peace. I don't feel anxious. I don't feel worried. Money-wise, you know, I'm used to being able to make a lot of money. And that was something I really had to let go of and have faith that God's going to take care of me and that I don't need to worry about bringing money in on my own in these immoral ways, that he's going to help me and he's going to pave a way for me. And that's exactly what he's done. Every worry that could come up, he's immediately crushed and given me what I needed and done for me exactly what I needed.
Good. Now, you know what that's called, don't you?
What's that?
It's called Makarios.
I didn't.
And it means God's never-ending, unstoppable joy. That in the worst of segments, in the worst of times, in the worst of memories, God will fill you through the Holy Spirit with a peace that you can't understand. And it goes beyond understanding. And everybody else thinks we should be falling apart and just howling at the moon. Mm-hmm. But instead, we sit calmly with our Creator, knowing that we're being taken care of by Him.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. So now what's up for you? What are you going to do?
You know, I'm just kind of moving forward with my faith, really just giving it over to Him and seeing where He wants to take me.
Have you found a place to worship regularly?
I've been, you know, moving from church to church to find a home church. I found 2 churches that I really enjoy. One is the First Church of the Open Bible, and I've kind of talked to them about membership. And
Spencer Karloff?
Yes, an amazing pastor. Yeah. And another church that I had checked out that was very good was High Point in Altoona. Mm-hmm. So I really like the First Church of the Open Bible, and I think that's probably where I'll land.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He's been on. In fact, I think he's on this week, isn't he?
Is he? I don't know.
Yeah,
but he's been on
here several times and told his story, and he's a good guy. And if you live in that neighborhood, you know, that downtown Beaverdale type of neighborhood, it's perfect.
Yeah, it is.
We'd also invite you to come out to Hope, our church.
Okay.
But you got to come all the way west, or you can go to the downtown church.
Okay.
We have a downtown church, but we can talk about that.
But you know, we were over at the church when Dr. Michael Brown came.
Yeah, that was Spencer's church.
Yep.
Yeah, it's the Christmas Tree Church.
Christmas Tree Church?
Yeah, for as long as I've lived in Des Moines, which started in 1978 at KIOA, every Christmas they have wood or metal, the diagonal cutouts Christmas trees, and they have colored bulbs on them, and they put them out all around the church. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay. So, typical story. Not really.
No, but you know, the neatest part of this whole thing is your answer about God. And I'm just sitting here thinking that I know so many people that really, really need to hear this. And I don't know how they're going to get from A to B. I mean, you said that it was your mother's death that pushed you forward, but you kind of had a little foundation before that. And I know that these people want it. I just don't know what's going to get them. And I know it's what they need, but I don't know how to get from A to B.
You know what? I really found that I heard those who seek the most find the most. And once I really started to seek God and what He's really about and really like put faith in there might be an answer here, I found that this is the answer.
Yeah.
God is the answer. This is the answer. And if you can just put a little bit of faith in there, He's going to give you a whole bunch back. He's going to show you.
That happened with me too. I mean, the more effort you put in, what you put in, you get out of it. Yeah.
Reap what you sow.
Yeah.
But, and the other thing, you know, for your friends, something that I tell my friends sometimes when they especially people that I've known a long time, and they've seen what the Holy Spirit has done for me in the last few years. And, what did you have to do? What did you do? And I said, I don't know what I did, except I stopped. I surrendered. What you talked about was the third step. Turn our life over to the will and care of God as we understand Him. That's what I did. That's what I think.
Yeah, it's when you quit trying to run everything, and it's like you all of a sudden have a little faith that God will take you through it.
Yep. Jenny, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Love to have you back sometime.
Absolutely.
Lila, thanks for being here. Ryan, thanks for producing. Robert Montserrat, the Cat in the Hat, thanks for watching the chat. And until we meet again, find someone that you need to forgive. It's buried in the back of your head. You know who they are. And tonight, forgive them. Because as you forgive, you shall be forgiven. I'll see you in church.
Restoring hope.